All right, everybody, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're going deep today.
Hey.
Deep, deep, like down the rabbit hole with Donald Trump and Jeffrey
Oh,
Epstein.
yeah. This goes way beyond those party pics from the 90s.
Way beyond buckle up.
Because get this, Epstein was actually kind of freaked out about Trump becoming president.
Right. Seriously?
Yeah, we're talking about Michael Wolff, Fire and Fury guy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, he's saying he has tapes of Epstein basically spilling all the tea about Trump, and it's not pretty.
So even Epstein was worried about a Trump presidency. That's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Okay. So back up for a sec.
Okay.
Can you even imagine these two as friends? Epstein, this shadowy financier dude, and Trump, Mr. Reality TV.
Well, they were tight for years.
No way.
Yeah, parties, all the same kind of circles that New York elite scene, real estate moguls, Wall Street types, the whole 9 yards.
So Wolf saying they even shared some, how do we say this? Similar tastes.
You could say that.
Oh, boy. Okay, so about these tapes, where were they recorded?
Epstein's Manhattan mansion. Yeah, imagine that place. Walls probably have ears.
Kind of gives you the creeps thinking about it now.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So anyway, Wolff says Epstein just lets loose on these tapes about Trump, and apparently even he was shocked by some of this stuff.
So Trump was too much for even Epstein to handle. That's saying something.
It really is like finding out Hannibal Lecter thinks someone has bad table manners.
Okay, I'm dying to know. What kind of dirt did he spill? Like,
Yeah.
what are we talking about here?
Well, Wolff's being pretty tight-lipped about the specifics for now.
Classic.
Saving it for the book, of course. But the words he does use, unhinged, reckless, even dangerous.
Yikes. Okay, but hold on a sec. We got to be real here. Wolf has a bit of a reputation too, right? Like, can we really take these tapes at face value?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Million-dollar question.
But even if we're skeptical, we can't just ignore the fact that these tapes exist. They add a whole new dimension to this whole twisted story.
True, true. And we can't forget about Stacey Williams either.
Oh, yeah?
She claims Trump assaulted her back in the 90s when she was with Epstein. I mean, that adds a whole other layer of messed up to this whole thing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And the thing is, this Epstein-Trump connection, it wasn't exactly a secret back then. I mean, it was tabloid fodder. But nobody really dug deeper.
Yeah. It's like everyone knew something was off, but nobody wanted to look too closely.
Right. And now, knowing everything we know about Epstein, it's even more disturbing.
Totally. Because think about it. If Epstein, a guy who was eventually facing some seriously heavy charges, was worried about Trump being president, what does that say about the guy who actually ended up in the Oval Office?
Chilling thought, right?
Chilling. And get this. Their friendship imploded in 2004.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other story.
What could have possibly caused such a dramatic fallout?
Well, you'll have to wait for part 2 to find out.
The suspense is killing me.
But trust me, you don't want to miss it.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. And don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment below. Let us know your thoughts on this crazy story.
All right, so before we get to that 2004 falling out, I want to go back to those tapes for a sec, because the timeline here is pretty interesting.
Yeah, you mean how Epstein's opinion of Trump seems to totally shift as Trump's political star starts to rise?
Exactly. At first, it's almost like Epstein's watching this whole Trump for president thing as a joke. Like he's amused. Maybe even a little condescending.
It's like when your friend says they're going to climb Mount Everest. And you're like, yeah, right, good luck with that. But then they actually start training. And you're like, oh, wait, are they serious?
Yeah, exactly. And as Trump starts gaining traction, that's when the tone on those tapes starts to change. Epstein's amusement turns into apprehension. Like he sees something in Trump that everyone else is missing.
And remember, this is Jeffrey Epstein we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is the guy who supposedly had dirt on everyone.
Yeah.
If he's worried about Trump, that's got to be saying something.
Yeah. It's kind of like realizing the monster under your bed is scared of something even worse.
Ooh. Okay, I like that.
And Wolff suggests that Epstein saw Trump as a loose cannon, someone who could bring their whole world crashing down.
Wait, so Epstein, the guy with a private island and a network of powerful friends, was afraid of Trump ruining everything? Why? What did he know?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And of course, Wolff's not giving us all the details just yet, saving it for the book. But he keeps hinting at some pretty dark stuff.
So we've got unhinged, reckless, dangerous. What else?
He even uses the word predatory at one point.
It's
like he's drawing a parallel between Trump's behavior and, well, Epstein's own crimes.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty heavy. But we got to remember, too, Wolff's not exactly a saint himself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's been accused of exaggerating, even fabricating stories before.
Yeah, you're right. We can't just take everything he says at face value. But even if we're skeptical, we can't ignore the bigger picture here.
Okay, so what is the bigger picture?
Think about it. We're talking about two incredibly wealthy, powerful men, both accused of some pretty horrific things. This isn't just about them. It's about the systems that allow people like them to exist, the money, the connections, the way they seem to operate above the law.
Yeah, it's like they live in a completely different reality.
Exactly. And that brings us back to that 2004 falling out. There are a lot of theories about why they split, but one thing's for sure, it wasn't pretty.
Okay, spill titty.
Well, some say it was a business deal gone wrong. Others whisper about a power struggle, maybe even a rivalry over women.
A rivalry over women
Yeah,
between those two.
I know, right? But remember, these guys were all about ego and power. Maybe they finally crossed a line, or maybe one of them felt threatened by the other. Who knows?
Ugh, the suspense.
Ha ha ha. But before we get into all that, we need to talk about what happened after Epstein's arrest, because that's when things really hit the fan for Trump.
Okay, yeah, because that changed everything.
Big time. So stay tuned for part 3, where we'll dive into the fallout and explore what this whole saga means for Trump's legacy. You won't want to miss it.
Right. So we're back. And we left off with Epstein's arrest.
Uh-huh.
Like that was the turning point, right?
Oh, yeah. Big time. It was like this massive earthquake in those elite circles, all those whispers about Epstein's, activities.
Right.
They became front page news, and, everyone was scrambling to distance themselves, like, Epstein who?
Especially Trump.
Oh, yeah. Especially
I barely knew him.
Right. Classic.
Dude, there are pictures of you partying with this guy.
Yeah, it's like trying to pretend you don't know the guy who crashed your car and then set it on fire.
Uh-huh. So true.
Mhm.
And for Trump, this wasn't just bad PR. This had some serious legal implications.
Yeah, it really put their connection under a microscope. People started asking some tough questions.
Uh-huh.
What did Trump know? When did he know it? Did he benefit from Epstein's network?
And then there's Stacey Williams' accusations.
Right.
Claiming Trump assaulted her when she was linked to Epstein. I mean,
It just gets darker and darker, doesn't it?
it really does.
Yeah.
And then Epstein dies in prison.
Officially a suicide.
Right, officially. Come on, the conspiracy theories were...
Oh, they exploded everywhere.
It's not hard to see why. Right.
Oh.
I mean, Epstein's death meant he couldn't testify. He couldn't spill any more secrets. It's like a crucial piece of the puzzle just vanished.
So where does that leave us? I mean, do we just have to accept that we'll never know the full truth about Trump and Epstein?
Maybe. But even without all the answers, this story tells us a lot.
Like what?
Well, it reminds us that these were two incredibly wealthy, powerful men, both accused of doing some truly terrible things. And for years, they seemed untouchable.
Yeah, it's like they live by a different set of rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, no matter who you are. This whole saga exposes the dark side of wealth and power, the way it can be used to silence victims and protect abusers.
So what can we do?
Well, we can't just let this be another headline we scroll past.
Hmm.
We have to keep asking questions, keep digging for the truth, and never be afraid to speak out against injustice.
Well said. And hey, if you found this deep dive enlightening, do us a favor and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. Let's keep the conversation going. Because remember, the truth has a way of coming out. Eventually,